Hi, welcome to Tally Alley, where we do dumb stuff. I'm Evan.
And I'm Haley.
And this week on Movie Alley, we're
talking about Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, and this is week 11, part 1.
Yep. And we tried to film this earlier, that's why you got a little...
I got all messed up.
We got interrupted.
I was ready.
Change of location.
Very different change of location. I like our normal location better.
He likes the normal location better because that means we don't have to clean his room.
That's true. So...
Rise of Skywalker.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it. I'm not a huge fan of the sequels. Not because I'm like, oh, I hate Disney. But rather because I'm not a fan of them getting rid of a lot of the extended universe stuff.
I know nothing of the extended universe.
That then changes some of the plot. Because they've like kind of inadvertently brought a lot of it back, but they just had to get the last word in. But I still really enjoy all of the stuff.
I honestly think all of this comes back to the fan service comment.
Yeah.
Which we had talked about in our first try for this video. I think there's a big balance to fan service, and I think a lot of times when there's something like such an extended universe and stuff like this, people start to kind of try and guess at what's going to come next, and they're like, oh, we're going to bring this in, and oh, what if we could see some of this and some of that, and it seems like a lot of times these creators and these big companies kind of push back against that, and they don't want to, I guess, be predictable or feel like they're being stifled creatively by doing just what the fans want, even if they had a different idea. And so they go like so far off the rails trying to not, that they end up almost backtracking on themselves. And it's very frustrating.
I think more so my only real problem with this trilogy is that I understand that directors take different creative standpoints whenever, because it's their movie that are directing it, they can take it how they want. I did not really enjoy how, in The Last Jedi, a lot of The Force Awakens' big plot setup kind of just got stepped on. They went, no, I don't actually like any of that, I'm going to reset this whole storyline. And then we saw again, J.J. Abrams came back and was like, well, actually, I liked my original storyline, I'm just going to end it how I want to, which I kind of enjoyed the different flavors and stuff, but that's why overall this trilogy is probably it's probably my least favorite. But I'll say this movie was really pretty great though, because I enjoyed it definitely the most out of this trilogy, and it probably beats out some of maybe the prequels for me on like ranking of what I really enjoyed the most out of Star Wars, because Star Wars is just something that I've always enjoyed and I'll rewatch all of them at any point. But there's still a point where I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't an amazing movie exactly, but this one I think was a still solid quality movie even without just a Star Wars love.
I liked this one. Some of my issues with the film aren't anything that are really different than previous films. I don't enjoy some of the technical aspects of how they've chosen to bring things across, but that's stuff that they've brought across since the original films were made. So that's something that's not going to change.
You don't like the Force?
No, I don't mind the Force. I feel like some of the aspects of the film sometimes draw me out of the suspension of disbelief. And it like throws me for a loop.
Haley hates Force ghosts.
I don't like how they're presented to me. It feels just very awkward and weird, and I don't know, it draws me out of the film for some reason. It's like my brain starts thinking about the technical aspect and like how much money they've put into doing this thing for no real purpose to me. So I don't know, I have some issues with that. I did like the scene though where she hears all of the voices towards the end of the film, which you wish that they would have shown us these characters,
because
but
there's
the
rumor of them. There's been a rumor going around that they were supposed to be in and then it got cut or something, which I regardless love that scene, because even if you don't see them, people who really are like committed to Star Wars still either could recognize most of the voices or were able to recognize who they were when they saw the names and the credits or something and being like, wow, all these characters that we loved and know so much about were here again.
I think it would have been too much of a fan service to have had all of their Force ghosts shown, because it also, there's a scene in a movie where it's like all the ghosts like come and start attacking the bad guy or something. And I can't remember what it is.
You mean the Lord of the Rings?
I
don't think that's what you're talking about, but Return of the King did that.
And it's like all these ghosts are like attacking the bad guy because the person like called upon the power or whatever. And to me, that's what it would have started feeling like. And I almost think,
fire.
Kind of, yeah. In that scene, it's such a weird thing.
You don't like when the dead come back and protect the living and then never do it again.
It's just very strange to me because it seems very subjective to scenes and stuff like that. But I think it would have been too much fan service for them to have had all the characters there, because it would have been very obvious that like, oh, we brought all these people back because these are the people everyone actually liked. It's what it would have felt like. Oh, they wanted to see them again. And to me, I feel like the voices were more powerful because it was supposed to be implied that she was calling upon the power of all the Jedis.
Yeah.
Not just the ones we saw in the original films.
Yeah.
So, to me, that was why it was more powerful that way.
I would have enjoyed seeing almost, yeah, like I said, Lord of the Rings, like Return of the King style, where there's just this massive mob, where, and if there would have been this, like, wall of, like, Force ghosts, and maybe, like, the ones that are surrounding her that we can really see their faces are, like, the ones we know that are speaking, but then, like, there's just, like, a bajillion other ones, which would have been dope. But
it was such a waste of money, though, to do.
I was fine with just hearing the voices, because I love the, like, them showing, like, them giving her the power to, like, finish this fight.
I think some of my frustration with stuff like that is when people start talking about like that. They did it with in-game. Oh, there was all these deleted scenes. Oh, we shot this first. Oh, and da 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 da. Everything now has come to, since the whole Batman vs Superman thing, has come to this thing of like, oh, well, we shot this, but like the studio wouldn't let us, or it didn't test well, or that's why it's not here. And it's like everyone's like shoving off this responsibility. Like, no, you made the film. Everyone agreed on it, whether they were 100% happy with it or not. Everyone agreed on this cut of the film. Directors, everyone who had a say in it, had a say in it. So get over yourselves. Like, stop trying to like push the blame on it. I don't like this whole Snyder cut thing, the whole JJ cut thing just drives me insane, because those people that are wanting a JJ cut are like, who needs a Snyder cut? That's stupid. Well, now you want the same thing. No, let it just die. I mean, just, people aren't gonna like it, people are gonna love it, it's just gonna be the way things are. I mean, you have an opinion, and I've seen people have the complete opposite opinion that I actually agree with most of their opinions on other films. But for this particular one, you would agree with their opinion on other films, but yet for this film, you have completely opposing films about the last two in this new trilogy. What was your favorite part of this movie?
My favorite part? Like, my favorite thing that was continuous throughout the movie was the little hints at Finn being Force sensitive, maybe.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Because ever since I saw The Force Awakens, I mean, you know, when you're watching that movie, I mean, you can tell, like, Rey's gonna be the Jedi, right? Yeah. But I was always hoping, my biggest hope, which is one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of Last Jedi, because I really was, like, wishing, this is just me as a fan, I was like, dang, I really wanted to see this.
Yeah.
But it's still, Last Jedi is a good movie, don't completely hate it or anything. But I always wanted to see Finn, because it always felt like there was always these little hints, like, maybe he can, you know, use the Force more than your average person, right? Maybe he can actually become a Jedi of some sort. And in this movie, they continuously push the idea of, oh, he's feeling the Force. Yeah. Well, this happened to this big event. He felt it more than, oh, well, all these people have bad feelings. They're like all sad and stuff, but he knows what happened. But my favorite just scene had to be the whole mirror fight thing going on with Ben and Rey at the end. Okay. Because I love
took mine.
Yeah, but
you can't just say two different things.
No. I was answering two things.
That was my favorite part of the whole film, which I think frustrates you because I don't like the Force ghosts and a lot of other things they do with the Force.
Yeah.
But yet my favorite thing in this whole film was this constant thing of they're talking about their duality, and yet how in past ones we'd seen them kind of like go into each other's spaces, but in this one we really actually saw them physically interacting with each other through this like Force mind thing. Yeah. And that whole scene with the lightsaber switch,
it was gorgeous,
beautiful, and I absolutely loved it.
Well, and then they were fighting, and it was like a mirrored fight. Like one was taking down one, then another one, and it just went back and forth and forth.
For a mirrored fight, and if you can show me a mirrored fight that's mirroring a past film, I would absolutely love it. What was one thing you didn't like about the film? Very quickly, succinct.
I don't have like really any.
Okay. I didn't like the Force Ghosts.
The
whole thing with Ben Solo and his dad showing up, it completely threw me out about how we have Force Ghosts now, and then this is his memory, so he's solid, and it just was completely beyond me.
I don't know. I think I only have one thing really, or maybe two. I'm okay with the whole I'm Rey Skywalker thing. That doesn't really bother me, but in some ways I'm like, I think I understand it, because if you were like, I'm Rey Palpatine, you're basically saying you're like Star Wars dictator of the century kid, you know. But I don't know, I almost feel like Rey could have used it and it would have been like a, hey, I'm a Palpatine, but I'm still a Jedi.
Yeah. I
almost would have liked that in some ways. But I'm okay with the whole Skywalker thing. But the one thing I maybe didn't like was, I'm always good with good guys winning, you know, which is what Star Wars movies always are. It's happy, good, feel-good movies for the most part. But I don't know how I felt about Ben giving up his life force to save Rey. I almost would have been okay with Rey dying. Because I love Rey as a character, but I don't know, I would have been almost okay if it would have been like, oh, well, Ben survived and he's a Jedi and there's still a Jedi. But I don't have many qualms about that, but I would have been interested to see how that played out.
I really like that, because to me that was another, we really quickly could have let this go, but give me your vote and I'm going to say one more thing, or your tally marks for the week.
I give it a 4, really. I think, or maybe a 4.25, because I think it was a pretty solid movie, to be honest.
I'm going to give it a 4. I had some issues with it. To me, some of my issues came from the title, which I understand. As someone who does writing, it can be extremely hard for me to come up with the title. Once I settle on a title, my brain runs with that title, even if it makes no sense to the actual story at the end of it. But at the same time, this title to me in some ways felt very confusing. I know our parents were slightly confused about why the title was what it was, even with the ending scene with Rey.
Yeah.
To me, I would give it a 4, though. But the one thing I wanted to say was, to me, Ben giving up his life force to save Rey was another version of the title. The Rise of Skywalker, it was showing he had went to like the lowest of lows, becoming like this bad guy.
Yeah. And
so it was a rise of a Skywalker for him to make such a turn on that he was willing to sacrifice himself for someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. That's what I was saying. I'm not like totally opposed to that whole deal with him giving his life up to Rey, because I think Rey's a cool character and it's cool that she's still alive and we can see what can happen with her. And Finn, I think that'll be a great combo. Maybe we can get a TV series or something eventually.
Ben would never have been accepted back, and I think he really did need to. Not that he had to die, but I think for him, he never would have felt like he could redeem himself any other way.
Probably.
And so to me, that was kind of a rise comment there, but yeah, overall it was really good. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I watched the prequels a lot growing up, because I was really young. I was younger when they came out, and I had some friends that really liked them, but it's never been like my thing to like get into the lore of it, which if I get into anything with any degree of interest,
you commit way too much. I
commit way too much. But yeah, I would give it 4. You say 4.25?
4.25, yeah.
So overall, pretty decent movie.
I think it was really great.
Not the best movie I've seen this year.
Definitely the best one of this trilogy.
Not the worst. Yeah. So yeah.
That's it for us. Tally Alley Week 11 Part 1 is done. This will be out really soon. And tomorrow morning, yeah. And then we'll be filming another one to come out Friday. Spies in Disguise. Yeah.
Which I really liked.
So. Which was a great movie, so stay tuned for that. And we're done for this week. Cut.